Yeah, our first item is a consent agenda consisting of the city council minutes from January 16th and 25th, Telecom Commission December 18th and January 22nd, Utility Commission January 24th, Joint Government January 29th, and then there's a license permit, exempt gambling permit for the Windom Women's of today, and then there's the regular bills. They have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda and the minutes and the licensing and regular bills.
I would second.
Motion by Scott, second by Marv. All in favor?
No, you're on.
Okay, any department heads?
Andy Spielman, Building and Zoning Official. Just a real quick update. Steve and I had a meeting this afternoon with DNR and our flood map revision that we've been working on for quite a while. We finally have a little bit of a timetable on that. So the maps are to FEMA. They're not completely through with their review, but DNR said they haven't heard any comments back now for quite some time. So they're hoping that really what we have now is kind of the end of it with them. They're hoping that March, FEMA will be complete with their review. The city will then publish in the paper for kind of a public notice that the new maps are available. That starts a 90-day public comment period. And then if no public comments are received, then those basically become effective. So we're hopeful that June, July of this year, we'll have those new maps. We did get a copy of the maps that FEMA is currently reviewing. They're not really available to the public yet and not official by any means, but we just today kind of got our first glimpse of what that might look like. So just kind of an update on that. It's been a while since we've heard anything. So yes, it will be a positive impact. We won't have to send the individual letters to homeowners that are negatively affected because there will be none that are negatively affected. This will benefit anybody that's along the river, Perkins Creek, in the flood area.
Does any of that come back to the council then?
Yeah, so the last thing we'll have to do after the review comment period is up, we'll have to actually amend our ordinance to adopt the new maps by ordinance. So I'm not 100% sure if that requires a public hearing, but it does for sure require 2 readings by the council. So once they're actually available public, I'll probably let the council know, and then if you want to see them, we'll have them available.
My question is, we're looking at trying to put the new shelter house at Island Park. How may this affect, or do you have any preliminary data on that?
Not that I'm willing to share. I did ask that question. There's potentially another project in town that could be impacted by this. I was hoping that since this is new data, the maps are really, they're there. We're just waiting on these final little details. I was hoping that I could use them as best available data for Island Park Shelter. DNR probably said we couldn't do that since they're not the effective maps, but it will affect it positively. The base flood elevation is going to be going down. I just don't know to what extent. I think we have enough information right now to where we're going to use this new base flood elevation for design and estimating purposes, but probably not so much to where we really want to start building to that until it's actually official.
Any other department heads or any more questions for Andy? Got any other department heads, or we can go on to South Cottonwood Lake subdivision PUD final plat?
Yeah, I'll
I
take
guess
this
you'll
one.
cover that too,
I'll take this
Marv.
one too, as long as I'm here, yeah. So I've included in your packet this evening the final plan for the South Cottonwood Lake planned unit development. It's been a while since we've had this in front of the council too, but this is the entire subdivision, and then all the non-riparian lots are included in the planned unit development. Previously, the council approved the general concept plan and the development stage plan. So really, the only thing with this is just kind of cleaning up the last little loose ends, which are really just the restrictive covenants that go along with the PUD. Planning Commission approved these, and then the developer made a change, so we brought that back to the Planning Commission. And then we submitted them all to Semstone. Since Semstone is retaining a couple lots in the PUD, they have to sign off on them as well. They had some recommended changes, and so there was a little bit of back and forth between Semstone and DVK, the other owner in the subdivision. But so what we included in your packet this evening was that map. Basically, everything that's not that shaded area is included in the planned unit development, and then the restrictive covenants for the development. They do include all of the covenants that cover the entire subdivision, and then there's some specific to the PUD as well. So what we're looking for this evening is to approve the final plan for the PUD, and this will be the final step to this process.
Yeah, can we have a motion for the PUD final plan?
I would make a motion to approve that final plan of the PUD.
I'll second it.
Motion by Marv, second by Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose, same sign.
Thank you.
And then next one. Next item is a letter of agreement for the building official. You gonna discuss that?
Thank you. So at the last council meeting, we had discussion. This is the January 25th meeting, special meeting. There was discussion about Mr. Spielman as he is transitioning to a new job here in the middle of February. Personnel committee met with Mr. Spielman, and Andy was gracious enough to be willing to help out the city transition into a new building official, as there are certifications that has to be gained with that process. And so what the discussion between us was that he'd stay on as a part-time employee for a period of time to help us with that transition. So Andy and I did contact the League of Minnesota Cities to kind of see what parameters had to be in a letter to how an employee transitions from a full to a part-time job. They gave us some pointers. We then drafted this letter of agreement that was in the packet. That letter of agreement went to City Attorney Schrammel, who's reviewed it and approved it and said it's okay if you so choose to move ahead. We had this, as I mentioned, discussion with personnel as well. And the Personnel Committee's recommendation was to approve a letter of agreement moving Mr. Spielman from full-time position to a part-time position while we transition. And that was greatly appreciated by all parties to help us through this time period. So unless anybody has anything specific about the letter of agreement or questions for Andy, I'll entertain those at this time.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve this letter of agreement?
I'd like to thank Andy. I mean, this is huge. I think that, we don't very often have somebody that's willing to stay on part-time to help us through, and this is, we need to have his services or, somebody that has the credentials to have that kind of position in our city. So this is really great that he'll help us out here. So I would make the motion to approve the letter of agreement with the building official services.
I also want to thank Andy and second the motion, please.
Motion by Jenny, second by Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The next item is a resolution approving amendments to the fee charges schedule. Anything you want to say on that?
I'll just quick ask if anybody's got any questions. The annual fee schedule is in the council packet. These are charges for all sorts of services ranging from liquor licenses to utilities to everything else. In the schedule, there were a few that were highlighted. The ones that were highlighted are things that were changed since the last time, and some of them, like I'm just showing the one that's on the screen now, is in the planning and zoning area. There were a couple of things that you've approved through new ordinances, things like that, that had fees attached, so those got added. There was one other new one. This one was under ambulance. It's called specialty care transport. What that is essentially if they have to have two, like nurses in the ambulance. So if they have to have an RN with, but if they also need like a respiratory therapist or a second party in there, we get charged for both of those people in that ambulance. And so we needed to have a specialty fee. It doesn't happen very often. The BLS rate, which is the basic life support, and the advanced life support, the difference there is basic doesn't have the RN, advanced has one RN. The specialty care, as you can see, that's a little higher cost. That's with two of those specialty care people in the ambulance. So that was a new one. The ambulance director did call surrounding cities. This 1,500 puts us second to the lowest of the ones that she called and looked at. So, and then there's street equipment, just kind of updating what the cost for those equipment to make them consistent. These are also rates if we have a FEMA event, if we had a flood or something like that, we get reimbursed at whatever rate we normally charge. So it's important to keep these current. And so that was updated there. Community Center had some minor kind of revisions to their fee schedule that the board had approved. Those are included in here. Biggest one they had were just kind of changing some of the fees for dumpsters, just with the amount of trash that's being basically gone through at some of these events. Our cost for dumpster was not covering what we were taking in as the fee, so so they did that. And then the utility rates changes were at the end, and those are under the purview of the Utility Commission, which they have approved by resolution. So those just became part of this schedule. So this is a kind of an all-inclusive schedule. We do need to approve it by ordinance, or I'm sorry, by resolution each year. So that's what is before you. And if you have any other questions about any of the other fees or that had been recommended for approval or change, I can entertain those.
I would introduce the resolution approving the amendments to the fees and charges schedule.
I would second.
Yep, the resolution.
Call.
Okay. Quaid,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Grunig,
Yes.
Esplin,
Yes.
Nelson.
Next item is several payments and change orders. The first one is truck garage for Wilcon Construction for $33,151.38.
I'd make the motion to make payment number 8 to Wilcon Construction.
I'll second it.
Motion by Marv, second by Scott. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, same sign. Next item is generator plant construction. That's Wilcon Construction also for $164,064.76.
I'll make a motion to pay the generator plant construction.
I'll second.
Motion by Scott, second by Jenny. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Next one is a transmission line reconstruction in the amount of $35,743.
I'd make the motion to approve payment number 5 to IES Commercial.
I'll second it.
Motion by Marv, second by Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that must be, we must be getting close to a final on that one, I would think.
Yeah, I can give you a rundown a little bit on each project quick, just so you know where they're at.
Okay,
Truck garage, actually just got the certificate of occupancy 5 minutes ago, so it's really close. The next payment should be everything but retention, and they're just wrapping up, well, water lines, everything's done, so just a few punch list items. And then the generation plant, they're actually building the cinder block wall for the firewall between the old construction and the new plant right now, so I think they got up to 8 feet so far, so moving along. Generator, one of the generators is sitting in Shakopee at the Caterpillar yard there. Still waiting on the second one, but everything's looking good. I mean, couldn't have asked for a better winter to build the generation plant. So, and transmission line, this is everything except for retention. So, next one should be the last payment. Everything's been, punch lists have been checked off, so it's working in order, and we've been really happy with it. So, if you guys don't have any questions on anything,
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Next item is a liquor store. And that's the Susner Construction, payment number 3 for $159,090.10.
I'll make the motion to pay the liquor store Snusner construction payment number 3.
I'll second.
Motion by Scott, second by Jenny. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now we got 3 change orders. Change order number 5 for Susner Construction.
So the first change order before you is change order number 5. During demolition of the office in the liquor store, it was discovered that it was just a dirt floor underneath. It was assumed that there was a concrete floor underneath, but I guess in the 70s when it was built, they decided to stop right there and not pour concrete underneath there. So it looked like they had rebar ready to go, and they must have pulled it out and just built the walls around it and left it exposed. So so before you is a change order for $2,216.50, which will grade all that, add a vapor barrier in, and then pour the slab on grade there. So
I'll make a motion to do the construction or change order number 5 for the liquor store.
I'd second.
Motion by Scott, second by Marv. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, then there's change order number 6.
All right, change order number 6 has 3 items here on it, and I'd like us to take them all individually. During our last site visit with the architect, we discussed some of the things that were going on as the project was continuing. The first one on the page is, so along the edge of the ramp on the south end of the building, there's a drip edge there that will, the rain and that'll come off the siding there. We looked at trying to do something there that would allow for the snow blower to ride along that edge so that it didn't damage anything. My personal opinion was the cost was a little bit higher than I thought it was going to be to do something simple there. So my recommendation is to deny that first requested change for the galvanized angle at the exterior ramp.
I'll make an order to accept his request. No? To deny the change order.
And I would second.
The second part of that change order is underneath the existing cooler. They found that there is 2x4s that were put between the two slabs. It was used as a thermal barrier between to separate the floor that was underneath the cooler. So we have to pull all that 2x4 out and fill it in. They're going to fill it in with sand and non-shrink grout, and then it'll be epoxied over. So it is recommended to accept that change order of $1,092 to pull out those boards. And the one in that bottom right picture there, you can see they did pull the board out and the board was rotten in there. So it could be pretty labor intensive depending on how much rot there is around that. But those have been there since the building was constructed in the mid-70s. So.
I'll make an order or motion to accept the change order for the 2x4s.
I'd second.
Motion by Scott, second by Jenny. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
And the third one on here is the deduct of $185. In walking around, I questioned whether they already had, if they were assuming that it was concrete underneath that office area, there was plan to demo out to tie in the plumbing for the new mop sink. And so they came up with this deduct for having to not have to cut concrete and demo that area to apply that new mop sink in there. So I recommend accepting that deduct of $185.
I would make a motion to accept the deduct of $185.
I'll second it.
Motion by Marv, second by Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
Change order number 7. When we were doing our walkthrough last week, it was discussed adding some type of snow bar or some snow protection over the cooler units that are on the outside, on the west side of the building. As you can see on the picture there, the new units, we didn't have units there before. Our current compressors were on the inside, and now we moved them outside. So it's recommended to accept the change order. Steve and I did some discussing on this on Friday, and I had some more continued discussion with the contractor on whether these were actually going to hold snow load coming down and not just rip off. And we were assured that It was a lot better hold than your standard steel roof, that it actually latches onto the standing seams. So it's got a lot better hold. It's got a lot to attach to. So just to prevent snow loads from coming off on top of these units, and then also to the north there is going to be the two AC units, which are removed now, and then we'll be getting new ones. So they'll install them over both of those units to prevent any snow and ice from damaging those units. So it is recommended to accept that in $1,158.
Quick question, didn't the architect figure that in when they were looking at that, when they put them outside, far as coming right off the roof, far as being so close and stuff like that to the drop?
So the architect didn't look at any of that. We bid the coolers separate as part of this project. They built it into the plan itself, but didn't look at any of the, snow loads or anything like that. It was just one of those things that, looking at it and then knowing what happened at the arena last year, it was just one of those things, if we can try to protect these units, and so we don't have an issue of a cooler going down because a huge chunk of ice comes in and cracks a coil, and it should be protected, but we just want to cover our butts, so.
What about the rain coming off in there?
Rain shouldn't be a problem because they can handle water, so it's just if a chunk of ice were to come and damage that unit, we could have some problems, so.
How we doing on the financial side when we're adding 1,000 and 1,000 and 1,000?
Yeah, Steve did some numbers. I did not get a chance to print it today. There it is. So, total construction and development costs were about 1.135 million right now. So, and that includes all of our engineering and design and.
That's where you're sitting right now, the $1,135,000. We did pay $10,725 for that preliminary. For the preliminary engineering or pre-design feasibility study, that was out of an operational budget. So then you'd subtract out also the dollars that we got for the bond for that portion, and then you're showing that I'm showing that $559,000 that's coming out of your liquor store reserve account that started at about $725. So with the things prior to the change orders you approved tonight, there's $165,800 left in that reserve fund, which is getting kind of below. We were kind of hoping to spend no more than $500,000 out of that fund. I think our initial estimate was $450,000 or $500,000 of our dollars, and then $550,000 from the bond dollars. It was about a 50-50 split. So you can see we're a little bit, we're real close to that split right now, but we did get a little premium on that bond, which added $25,000 to that side of things. So we're running a little ahead of where we thought expense-wise than we were planning on initially.
Are we getting to the end of the change orders then?
I believe so. I'm not seeing much unless we run into anything. Most of the things that we're at have been exposed already, so I think everything else should go to plan. So.
Well, I'd make the motion to approve change order number 7.
I'll second it.
Motion by Marv, second by Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
So just an update on the project. I don't know if any of you guys have been in there, but we're getting a lot of good comments. The new coolers are up and running and fully stocked. customers come in and realize the extra space that we're getting already. Because you can see that when the old cooler's gone, and they really like the new coolers with the selection in it. We can hold a lot more product in them. And then it's getting into a little bit of a time where we're starting to pull products off shelves, getting ready for interior demo of the walls, prepping for that stuff. And then it's looking like in March that we're going to be clearing off the liquor side to get ready for demo on that side. And then middle of April is the plan to do the epoxy flooring on the ground. So there'll be a week in the middle of April where we'll potentially be closed for that flooring installation. And hopefully towards the end of that, we can kind of base our sales based on online sales until we can get the new shelving in after that, and then restock all the shelves, so.
Okay, do we have any new business? No new business? Any old business? Council concerns or council comments. Scott, you have anything?
Just want to say, with all the nice weather out and all the people out and about moving around, just be cautious with the driving and the traffic, and people on foot kind of just look both ways as you go through intersections and stuff like that, because it's nice out. People want to get out and get moving around and stuff like that, but just be careful with everybody.
Jenny, you have anything?
I actually do tonight.
Okay.
Few things. I attended the Chamber Open House on January 26th and welcomed R.C. Jones as our new Chamber Director. I think she'll be a good addition, and I hope she collaborates well with the city and our community and our businesses to help us grow. Reminder that the Windom Library has right now going Blind Date with a Book, and if you haven't checked that out, I did that last year. It is really cool. They have books wrapped with, wrapping paper, and there's just a little comment on the book to kind of give you maybe a clue as to what the book is about. But last year I picked up one of those books and I fell in love with that author. So check out Blind Date with a Book and pick up a book at the Windom Library. Also, February is Heart Month, and the Windom area Health out at our hospital has heart and vascular screenings, and it's only $75. And if you have like flex spending or things like that with your medical, that will you can use those dollars towards that. Otherwise, really for $75, it's a really good investment. If you're 40 plus, if you have any kind of heart history, family history, it's good to do. I went out and did mine earlier this month, and it took a little over an hour, I think. They just scan your arteries in your neck. They take your blood pressure of your arms and down at your ankles. They do a CT scan of your heart, which is read out in Sioux Falls, and your cholesterol. And so they check all that, and then they give you a rating as far as what % chance you have of having a heart attack in the next 10 years. So I thought it's really good information. They can tell you if there's any plaque or, calcium buildup in your arteries, those kind of things. So for those of us that are a little bit older, it's a good thing to do. So I recommend everybody going to get a screening, and it's wonderful that they offer it right here at our Windom Hospital. Then also to remind people that Thursday, February 15th is National School Resource Officer Day. So I want to give a shout out to Officer Dana Wallace. She's going on 11 years as being our school resource officer. So if you've had any children in the Windom school system in the last 11 years and you would mention Officer Dana, they will all know. She is, I think, a wonderful asset to the Windom school and our community. So thank you, Officer Dana. And then one more thing, just about trees. If you've been out and about, I think probably with the nice weather, that's why the street department has had some time on their hands because they haven't had to plow much for snow. They've been busy taking down some ash trees at Island Park and the rec center. Due to the emerald ash borer, they've taken down 24 trees so far. They do have trees, and they plan on eventually there'll be about 75 new trees coming in. Over time here, they'll be adding, but so if you've noticed that the trees, we have less trees around Island Park in the rec area right now, blame the emerald ash borer, but we are gonna get some new trees put in. It just takes time, so hopefully we can get that back. So that's what I have.
Marv, you have anything?
Just thank Andy again for staying around and helping us out, so that's good.
Yes, that's great. Steve, you have anything or not?
Yep, just quick thanks to Andy as well for helping us out. He's going to be missed. He's a wonderful department head and a great member of our team. And secondly, I just want to say thanks to our office staff for stepping up. Well, we haven't had finance director now, but the folks in the office have all stepped up and done their part to help out, and that is sincerely appreciated.